Some of the Democrats in the House who aren't total sellouts have been emboldened by the Republicans losing on Trump Care, and they're fighting back the proper way. So Representative John Conyers proposed a Medicare for All bill, which is awesome. It's H.R. 676. Now, at the same time, Bernie Sanders is introducing Medicare for All in the Senate. So now we have a big announcement for you. National Nurses United, brand new Congress, and Justice Democrats are calling on all congressional Democrats to support these bills. Now, as of right now, Conyers' bill has support from just 72 of 193 House Democrats. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make them all sign on to this. So I need you to take action because you're this movement. You got to go to justicedemocrats.com/single payer. justicedemocrats.com/single payer. And sign your name in support of this. And this is a petition to make 193 of 193 House Democrats get on board for this. By the way, here's a prominent name that's not on board for this. Nancy Pelosi. You think I'm going to lead the Democrats. But a key liberal progressive position that they should stand for, she's like, yeah, no, I don't stand. It's amazing because you hear these guys. You know how you know an establishment corporatist Democrat? You know how you know them? When all they want to talk about when it comes to healthcare is protect Obamacare. We got to protect Obama, protect it. Because guess what? Obamacare, though it was a giant step in the right direction over what we had before, it's ultimately and originally a right-wing bill. The Heritage Foundation wrote policy papers on it. Newt Gingrich and Chuck Grassley supported a version of it in the 90s. It's the individual mandate. That's what it is. That's the kind of system that Obamacare is. Nixon supported a version of it. Bob Dole supported a version of it. Mitt Romney did it in Massachusetts. So, yeah, that was the old right-wing proposal. So if you have a Democrat who only talks about protecting Obamacare, only, well, then that's a key sign that that's a corporate Democrat through and through. Because the real Justice Democrats, liberals and progressives, principled liberals and progressives, they'd say, no, single payer, Medicare for all, not even close. That's obviously what the end goal should be because it's the only one that makes sense. All the evidence in the world points in that direction. Every other modern nation has one form or another of a single payer system, and they cover more people, they pay less, they get better quality care. It just wins across the board. So now we're going to make them do it. Now, furthermore, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. I read an article a while ago that spoke about how it was somebody who worked in a congressman's office. And they said, look, of everything I saw, the one thing that really got their rear in gear, the congressman, was when phone calls flooded the office over a certain issue. And the person gives the example of a talk show host had apparently went on air and said, look, I need you to call the congressman and say, you got to vote this way on this bill. And all it took was that one talk show host doing that. And then you had thousands of calls pour in. Everybody, they called their congressman and they said, hey, here's what you're going to do. And they told them. They were respectful, but they said, this is what's going to happen. And if you don't do that, I'm going to vote against you in the next election. And everybody I know is going to vote against you in the next election. So try me. That's what they did. And apparently, congressmen, even with all the corruption and all the money in politics, they start to feel it when all those phone calls start rolling in because they go, whoa, this hit a nerve. So it makes them think twice if they're going to vote the wrong way. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to call your congressman. I need you to call your congressman, and I need you to say, support H.R. 676, Medicare for All, and do it now. If you don't, I will vote against you in the next election, and I will get everybody I know to vote against you in the next election. So try me if you want to try me. Support it. That's what you say. And look, I have a quote here for you that you guys can use because I love this strategy. Representative Ro Khanna was the first one to do this strategy in a committee hearing, and I thought it was great. Why not use Trump's own words and say, especially if you're calling a Democratic congressperson, use Trump's words against him and against the Republicans. Say, support this bill, and also, here's what Trump said about universal health care. Rub it in their face. Rub it in the Republicans' face. So Trump said, and I quote, "If you can't take care of your sick in the country, forget it. It's all over. I believe in universal health care." Trump said that. Trump said that. Quote, "If you can't take care of your sick in the country, forget it. It's all over. I believe in universal health care." Call your congressman. Say those words. Say, hey, here's what Trump said. Why don't you quote that back to the Republicans and say, hey, you going to stay by your word or you're not going to stay by your word? Trump, you going to stay by your word? Prod Trump to sign on to this bill. Prod Trump to say, I'm in favor of that. I'm actually with the Democrats on the Medicare for All bill. H.R. 676, Representative John Conyers' Medicare for All bill. We need 193 of 193 House Democrats on board here. So we're going to throw some weight around and we're going to flex some muscle. And we're going to do it right now. Because this is what we have to do if we really want to make an impact. And I also need you to go to justicedemocrats.com/single payer, sign that petition, because we want as many signatures on that petition as possible to rub it in the corporate Democrats' face and in the Republicans' faces and say, look how many people we can mobilize for single payer, for Medicare for all. As of right now, 55% of the country is in favor of it. And like I told you already, all the modern nations in the world have one version or another of a single-payer system, and it just gets better results. You pay your health care, it's paid for out of your tax dollars. So here in the U.S., our money's going to $7 trillion for the Iraq War, a couple trillion more for Afghanistan, corporate welfare out the wazoo, give money to the big banks in Wall Street. Why are we not reallocating funds into stuff that matters, like healthcare for people? 45,000 people die every year in the U.S. because they don't have access to basic healthcare. That's a Harvard study that found that. Millions of people uninsured, and they're having a debate over whether to keep milquetoast, neoliberal reform Obamacare or drive the fucking bus off a cliff with Trump care and Ryan care and have 53 million people uninsured and cut $600 billion in taxes for the rich and gut Medicaid $880 billion. No. That whole debate is wrong and way on the far right of the spectrum. That Overton window's nuts, son. Single-payer Medicare for All and Medicare for All now. H.R. 676. Sign the petition. Call your congressman. Let's push them. Let's get it done. We're going to show them that even though we don't have the numbers right now, the power's with the people in this country.